I didn't think I'd be making this video actually, but it seems like the Nets and James Harden trade talks are getting somewhat legit now. I don't know how I feel about it. Like, it's kind of weird because like being a Nets fan for a long time, like it wasn't too long ago when like we had the Shane Larkins and Donald Sloans of the world on our team. And now we're like contemplating if we should trade for James Harden or not. And like a few years ago, that'd be like a no-brainer. Like, yeah, I'll take James Harden. But now we're at a point of, do you want to sacrifice all the Nets' depth that they've built on this team to go all in for three really good players and surround them with not so good players? Because like that's what happens in a salary cap league. Like when you have three players on massive contracts, which would be Durant, Kyrie, and Harden, then you really can't build your bench and your depth. It's kind of like the Miami Heat when they had Bosh, Wade, and LeBron. They were starting Joel Anthony. They were starting Mario Chalmers. Norris Cole was playing major minutes, and it's like, these guys are not that great. But here's my problem with the Nets and the whole James Harden thing. James Harden's healthy. Like, that's a bad way to put it, but he's durable is what I meant to say. Kyrie, not the most durable guy, and Kevin Durant's coming off a major injury at 33 years old. So if you told me that you're going to get a lot of, not many games missed out of Harden, Durant, and Kyrie, I would say for sure I would sign up for this. But here's my problem. How many games does Kyrie Irving play next year? How many games does Kevin Durant play next year? And James Harden now is like 32 years old. So it's not like he's getting any younger, not saying he's old or any of that, but still, like, you never know. A lot of minutes on his body for sure. So if you told me all these guys were going to be healthy, I would definitely be on board for this. But like, how healthy are these guys gonna be? Like that's the big question. So it's a big risk for sure. But if the Nets did this, their starting lineup would probably be something like, obviously they have Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, James Harden, and then I guess they would keep DeAndre Jordan and maybe Joe Harris if they can afford that. I don't even know. So like you're at a point now where it's like, who's going to be on the bench? Because I wouldn't even know. So according to the tweets here I put on the left, the deal would be Spencer Dinwiddie, Karis LeVert, Taurean Prince, and Jarrett Allen. And I'm sure there'd be a lot of first-round picks involved as well, which I don't know how I feel about that one. But I don't want the Nets to make that same mistake. There was a rumor out there the Nets would have to trade like a bunch of first-round picks for James Harden. The Nets made that mistake a few years ago with the whole, I know it's a different situation, but Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce trade, where they traded like 4 first-round picks basically in pick swaps, and now the Celtics, have Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum and some other guy. Colin Sexton was a Nets pick as well. They put themselves in a really bad spot because I know they traded for they traded for KG and Pierce, who were much older, but at the same time, you don't want to trade your future away for a 2 or 3 year run at the championship. And you know what? That's the thing. Like, I feel like I'm at a point now with Sean Marks, the Nets GM, where I completely trust him. He's made so many great moves. I mean, the only bad move that Sean Marks has made here, in my opinion, was trading for Alan Crabb. And that's like a 3 or 4 year sample size at this point. So, I mean, to me, Sean Marks is just a god. He can't do no wrong. So anything the Nets do, I can get behind as a fan. And how could you not be excited about trading for James Harden? The guy's unbelievable. But at the same time, it's a lot of depth to give up. Like, that's the thing. If Kyrie Irving goes down, if Kevin Durant has complications with the Achilles, then all of a sudden it's James Harden and a bunch of average role players. And it's like, how far can you go at that point? But you don't want to you can't bet on injuries, but you could also be cautious about it. So is trading all your bench players and your good bench players. Like Joe Harris is a really good player. If you don't watch the Nets, I don't know how many people watch the Nets, but Joe Harris, when watching him every game, very good player. Taurean Prince, I didn't like him too much last year, but Karis LeVert's a really good player. Spencer Dinwiddie, as you know, is a really good player. And Jarrett Allen's a really good rim protector. He still has a lot of time to improve. I think Allen's only 22 years old still, but there's a lot of room for those guys to grow, and they're really good players. But there's a difference between those guys and James Harden. Like, those are players that are here, and then James Harden's somewhere up there, like superstar level. So I get it. If you want to go for a championship in the NBA, you kind of have to go all in sometimes. And that's kind of what the Lakers did in a way. They went with the big two, LeBron and AD, and put a bunch of really good, bench players around them. But the Nets situation would be more relatable to the Heat back in 2012, 2013, 2014. That's more relatable to that situation. So it can be done, and it can work. We do know that. And you know what? I'm going to be happy with it. If the Nets decide to roll with the guys they have now and go with just Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, I will be fine with that. But even if they trade for James Harden, I can also live with that. Now, the thing that would annoy me is if the Nets traded like their next 3 first-round picks for him. That would annoy me. Like, it's enough to trade like all these guys, Dinwiddie, Karras, and Allen. I don't care about Taurean Prince, but those 3 guys plus a bunch of draft picks, like that's adding too much to it. So trading those guys is enough to me, and I'm sure it's going to take at least 1, maybe 2 first-round picks to do it. But don't be trading like 2024, 2025 first-round picks. Don't go that far into it. The Nets, the next 2 or 3 years should be a really good team. Like, I think they have top 5 talent, but I don't know if they'll be healthy. And I think after that, these guys will be in their mid-30s, mid to late 30s. I know Kyrie Irving's still 28 years old. He's young, but a lot of injuries for him as well. So it's like a very risky proposition. But when you're chasing a title, it's like sometimes you have to do these things. Now, I don't know what they're going to do. I have no idea how legit these rumors are, but according to these tweets, this guy, I don't know what his name is, honestly. I'm going to try and pronounce it. Farbad Ensarati. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. Probably not. But he says that, from what I'm told, James Harden to the Nets is practically a done deal. It's just a matter of ironing out the little details. So, I don't know how legit that is, and it seems like James Harden is kind of open to this idea, and then Adrian Wojnarowski tweeted about it as well from a couple of sources. Houston's James Harden considers his future with the franchise. One possible destination is Brooklyn, so the idea of reuniting with Kevin Durant and joining Kyrie Irving is resonating with Harden. So yeah, if you're James Harden, why wouldn't you want to come here? I mean, it's probably a better situation in Houston. He's been in Houston now for how long, James Harden? Like 8 years maybe? It's been a long time, and they've had a lot of close calls. They were up 3-2 once in the Western Conference Finals. Then Chris Paul hurt his hamstring, and that was the end of that. But I don't see him winning a championship there. So I guess for Harden, the right move would be to come here, or maybe somewhere else. I think there was talk about the 76ers, not the 76ers, the Sixers. But yeah, Harden's contract right now is a cap hit of $41 million for next year, then $44 million a year after that, then a player option for $47 million. I mean, obviously he's going to take that. So that would be his age, 31, 32, and 33 seasons. So Harden's 31 right now. I apologize. I think I said 32 before. But yeah, it's risky. It is risky. And look, as I said, I can get behind Sean Marks for what he's done for this franchise. I mean, look, we were in the basement for a long time. Now the Nets are possibly one of the better teams in the NBA. So I can definitely get my full trust behind this guy. But, I don't know. I just don't want to give up all the draft picks. I can live with it. I don't know what I want. I'd be pretty damn indecisive about this one. But if you can get James Harden on this team and keep a lot of your future first-round picks, then I say you probably do it. But it really depends on the health of Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. This is one of those big threes that can go south real quick. Now, it has a very high ceiling. The Nets are definitely a team that, if these guys stay healthy, will be title contenders for the next 3 years. But if some guys get hurt and Kyrie Irving continues to get hurt and James Harden kind of slows down and Kevin Durant can't recover and is not the same guy from the Achilles injury, then all of a sudden you're like a 30 to 40 win team every year, and you're just going to get out in the first or second round and you lose all your draft picks. So it's like a lot of different possibilities here, and yeah, I don't know what to do, but we'll see how this one plays out. The NBA offseason should be a fun one. The guy I've always wanted was Bradley Beal. He's younger. I think would fit this team a bit better. Like, you have 2 ball-dominant guys now in Kyrie Irving and James Harden. I don't know how that's going to work out, but I guess that's a wait and see. But I don't know. We'll find out. And I think, of course, Mike D'Antoni now is on the Nets staff, if you didn't know, and he played with James Harden. Not played with, but coached James Harden for a lot of years in Houston. So that's another reason that fit might happen. But yeah, there's a lot of connections there and things like that. But it's intriguing. It'll be fun to see what happens. And as I said, I will be fine with what the Nets do because I trust Sean Marks. But we'll wait and see. Leave in the comments what you think is going to happen with James Harden, where he'll go. Will the Nets make that move? Will the Nets stay put? Will the Nets make another small signing and things like that? I'm still hoping for Serge Ibaka. Please, like on a minimum deal, that would be awesome. Maybe I'm too greedy for that, but please, that would be awesome. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll talk to you next time.